I rise in opposition to H.R. 1599. Thank the gentleman from Vermont. This legislation, which should be called the Deny Americans the Right to Know Act, or DARK Act, represents a major threat to consumer information. States have the right to determine their own local laws relating to GMO labeling, and the federal government shouldn't interfere. I frequently hear Republicans talk about states' rights and talk about the big bag federal government. But when it comes down to it here, they want to take away the rights of states and counties and the voice of the people, instead to support huge corporations and companies. Polls prove again and again Americans want to know what's in their food. 9 out of 10 Americans support genetically engineered labeling, including majorities of Democrats, Republicans, independents, whites, Lats, Latinos, blacks. I mean, what else can bring everybody together? This isn't a quote-unquote handful of activists we're talking about here. We're talking about 90% of the American people. This is the right of states to be able to determine how they label their food. States are doing it as we speak, just as they do with many other things. Sell-by requirements, labels on bottled water around deposit requirements, states requiring origin of seafood and catfish, whether it's farm-raised or wild-caught. It's a vibrant discussion across the states that we should not preempt here in Washington at the behest of a couple major world corporations. We're talking about the rights of hundreds of counties and states and tribes to talk about how close to schools and hospitals pesticides can be used that relate to genetically modified organisms. Do we really want pesticides used to kill superbugs sprayed across your 5-year-old's school child's playground? These are the states that we're talking about, not a handful of activists. States, including the states like Texas, where legislation has been introduced. This bill will remove everything that has the right to know for people and for states. We need to stand up to fight for the right to allow states and consumers to make these kinds of choices for themselves. That's why I co-sponsor my colleague from Maine's substitutes amendment, which will remove the preemption language from the bill. I urge my colleagues to oppose the DARK Act, to support consumer transparency, and I yield back the balance.